Hello, today we'll be painting this easy watercolor landscape using this reference photo. Let's begin. To begin, I'm going to measure out an even distance from the bottom of the page. This will represent where the horizon line will be. We don't want to cut the page in half, so it's important that the horizon line is either 2/3 of the way up or 2/3 of the way down from the top or bottom of the page. Now going through and making little notes with an HB #2 pencil. We don't have to sketch in every single detail, just generally where things will go. Masking fluid is optional, but I'm going to use some of it here just to preserve some of the white areas I don't want to accidentally cover up. Okay, let's paint. I like to use a spray bottle to wet the paper before getting started, but that's totally optional. So the sky in the reference photo is kind of a moody yellowish blue, gray. So we're going to use a combination of raw sienna, some cerulean blue, and some cobalt blue. And to create a glow effect, I'm going to use the raw sienna for the lightest part of the painting, and I'm going to darken everywhere else around that part to make the center of the sky seem lighter. Now, I don't want the sky to be too blue, so I change up the colors as I move around the page. So at the very top, I have more of a cobalt blue color, and then as I move down, I switch to a more cerulean blue and then more raw sienna toward the bottom. Now I don't want to fuss with it too much, so I think I'm just going to leave it at that and just let the colors blend together. And for the background, the tree line, we're going to use some Hooker's Green and Ultramarine Blue. Wetting the paper is optional here. My page is still a little damp, so I'm just taking advantage of that. As you can see at the very tops of the trees, it's kind of blending into the sky, which is creating a really nice diffused effect. And some larger conifers live here on this side of the tree line. And not a lot of detail here, just trying to lay out the painting first. There, I think that's pretty good. Now for the reflection, we just want to mimic what is up above down below. So I'm wetting the page gently again and just using the raw sienna color that's up above to reflect down below. Same with the blues in the sky. And it's okay if the colors kind of bleed into one another. I'm kind of doing that on purpose. And the reflection from the trees I'll paint in last. So the foreground is sort of a cranberry bog with a lot of purples and reds. So I'm using a combination of cadmium red and violet to paint in the cranberry bog vegetation. Using a #8 mop brush. Any brush will do, but I find this brush to be helpful because of the tip at the very end helps me paint in minor details that look like grasses and things sticking up. And at the same time, covering a lot of surface area as well. And it's easy to get carried away in trying to paint every single stick that you see in the reference photo, but really just trying to paint the general gist of it and maybe even putting our own spin on things. So the underside of the vegetation is always going to be darker. And so right now I'm going through and adding the darks based on where I think the darkest part of the foreground will be. Forgot to mention that the color I'm using to darken the vegetation is a burnt umber, as well as ultramarine blue, but here I'm just varying the colors as I go to make the painting more interesting. Right, and for the reflection of the tree line, I'm once again using the same Hooker's Green ultramarine blue color, and we're just mimicking, or doing our best to mimic basically what's up above, down below. Now, it doesn't have to be exact, but we are just trying to get the general shape that's up above to be reflected in the water. I'm just going through and painting in the reflection of the vegetation as well. Those details can also add some nice enhancements to the painting. Leaving a light line between the object and the reflection also really helps the viewer understand that it is a reflection. Now, to make the painting a little less flat, we're going in and adding some of the darker areas toward the bottom of the vegetation, as depicted in the reference photo. A little dry brush effect for little twigs and sticks and things like that underneath. Okay, now that the painting is generally laid out, we're ready to make our final adjustments. I really like the tree line in the back, but the painting could use another dimension, so I'm putting in some trees that are also way in the back, but that are closer than the trees that are all the way in the back. Basically adding another layer of dimension to the painting. And to avoid hard edges, which we really don't want all the way in the back, I'm using a little bit of water to smooth or soften the tops of the trees. Now, if you'll notice in the reference photo, the reflection is a little darker than the tree line. So we're going ahead and darken that, and you'll notice that it's really going to help make the painting pop. And it's finally time to remove the masking fluid. I don't want to draw the viewer's eye to the white spots we left behind, so I'm just going to go ahead and touch them in with some nice fresh color. So I filled in the areas that I thought were needed to be filled in, but I'm going to preserve the line all the way in the back, separating the trees from the water. And that's today's painting. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. Thanks a lot for watching.